man. First, I'm to all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bashem, Al Shah, Bashem, Dash. And the double honor to elders, apostles, and teachers, great millstone for my learning the truth. I'll say Shalom to the hopeful elect of Israel. And I'm going to center this on the topic of how the time to pay is on its way. And I think, the older brother, Amwan Ibad, that says that quite a bit, if I'm not mistaken. That's the honest truth, because with this whole shooting of Charlie Kirk, that further divided America, because like now you have people are already at each other's throats, but now even more so, to the point where when Jacob's trouble pops off, people are not going to give any type, that whole patriotic spirit, that shit is done. You have a few people that believe in that, but for the most part, the vast majority of Americans don't. Ezekiel 24. And like a lot of people wondering what's going on, but the prophets are telling you people what's going on, how this is the end. You're living in the end of an empire, the end of an age. And they try to push the prophets into a corner or push us aside, like we're a bunch of crazy niggas that don't know what the fuck we're talking about. Like we weren't ordained by a higher power. And and especially with our people, our people have always hated, shunned, and talked shit about the prophets. But you want to know the funny thing is that even though that's been the thing that has happened, that didn't make the words of the prophets any less true. That didn't make it any less a fact that the Heavenly Father chose certain men to push forth His message. That didn't make that any less true. Those prophecies still came to pass. Judgment still rained through or rained down. Kingdoms and empires still fucking crumble, and the next empire that's prophesied to arise arose. And going into the downfall of America, which is prophesied in the Bible by these men who y'all call fucking crazy, who y'all like to talk shit about, who y'all call niggas, and old niggas sitting on the fucking couch. Like, yeah, there's an older, a little while ago, you had some assholes that called the elders and the apostles old niggas sitting on the couch. But the words that the Lord put in their mouth all happened. And there's nothing you people can do about it, especially you Edomites. Because something that one of the older brothers mentioned last night, sit down, is how you have a lot of Edomites that have a repressed rage and hatred towards Jake. So for a long time they had to repress their hatred, but now that they see their kingdom is crumbling, you have the Lord loosening His hand on that leash, and their hatred is being loose slowly more and more. But a big part of that is because they see that their kingdom is coming to a fucking end. There's nothing they can do about it. Especially when it comes to this whole thing with the white male, the liberal or conservative white male being pretty much dragged through the mud to talk shit about. You got a lot of Edomite young conservative, traditional value Edomites that are upset because of what they've been brought into. All these Edomites realize they got fucked over. That's contributing to that hatred as well, to that hatred towards our people. But once again, a very big piece of that is how they know that they're not going to be able to take part in a prime slice of their kingdom. But our whole thing here in America is for punishment. But now that our punishment is up, what's to happen now? Because when you go into like these previous kingdoms that our people were in, we went into slavery under these heathen empires. And then what happened? The Lord, when that time passed, the Lord had something happen to where we were either saved out of the kingdom or saved from under the heathen, not necessarily out of the kingdom. Like you have the four major empires, but even before that, we went under like slavery for a lot under the Hamites. But for like, it started out with like 8 years, then went up to like 13, 14, and then it went all the way up to where we have now. But especially during the major empires, you had our major captivities, and then what happened? The kingdom fucking however the Lord had it, the kingdom fell. Another nigga came in and took over. But that's what's going on now is when now that our punishment is up, you have another man getting ready to take over. And who is that? Yahweh Shai. And that's what we're preaching. And what you have these different chariot sightings and all these fucking things happening. Yet niggas want to sit there and cope and operate in denial. Because everybody knows who we are. Everybody. There's actually this comedian that he might be a Jake, but he looked like an Edomite. He's with the Jake woman. But he's a comedian, Bill Burr. He mentioned the Israelites, and he knows this. He knows this type of stuff that we say because like he wrote it off as BS. So everybody, these celebrities, they know who we are. These are fucking damn athletes, all these niggas know who the Hebrew Israelites are, but they all write us off as if it's not real necessarily about that, but just about the fact of how we're forecasting and prophesying of what's happening. And to all you Edomites, yes, your kingdom is going down the fucking drain. And this is the time for your ass kicking, This is the beginning of your ass kicking. And for Esau, it's a horrible thing because America's falling rapidly. Things have gotten exponentially worse, not only in America, but in the world within the past decade, than the past 10 years. Exponentially worse. Ezekiel 25:14, and there's this Jake that said how we're not, he pretty much had a problem with us hating Esau, with us hating our enemy, the one who's been an enemy to us throughout time immemorial, the one who's been at odds with us since the garden. The serpent seed. And I'm just thinking about, like the shit that he's done to us. It's not natural to sit there and say not to hate the nigga. Because that's natural. It's natural to have enemies. Snakes have enemies. Lions have enemies. For those of our people who don't know, the Lord is going to show you who your enemy is. The Lord is going to show you who Esau really is. So I'm going to read this. I remember it. I'm going to go this really quickly. Ecclesiastes. Rock 12 and 10, 11. So it's 11. Yeah. 11. Never, 11. 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like his iron rusted, so is his wickedness. But this is the point, was in 11. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not altogether been wiped away. And for a little bit of time, you had so-called white man that's been masquerading as this angel of light, as this great guy who just cares about everybody. But once again, just like I mentioned earlier, you have that hate bubbling under the surface. Trump, a prime fucking example. He had black friends and whatnot. He probably, I heard some shit about him fucking helping a black woman, putting her up in his hotel or some shit like that. He probably banged out a couple of Jake chicks. He's cool with the black community. But look at what this nigga's doing. Look at the rhetoric that he's been spewing. Putting the military in fucking in Jake neighborhoods, democratic areas. Most Democrats are Jake. You got a lot of Edomite Democrats, but most Democrats are Jake. When you think of Democrat, who you think of? You think of Jake. Look at the way he talks about Jake. That's who this nigga really is. That's who the so-called white man really is. He knows. But our people don't fucking know. But the Lord is going to show you who your enemy is. But, just going back to the point of how even when you call it Jacob's trouble, because like what? Jacob's trouble is the last of our punishment. But then that's the beginning of Esau's punishment. Because like what? Jacob's trouble is going to affect everybody. Just like going to Ezekiel, I think it's 9 or 7, how it mentions beginning of my sanctuary. The Heavenly Father is going to start with his people. But then when you go into prophecy, go into how, Babylon being destroyed, through missiles and Yahushua coming back. The heathen nations looking afar off shall weep and lament for for her burning, because America's done. There's no longer that place you could go to make money. Everybody's going to flee away from America. And then, everybody's going to flee away from America physically and, policy wise and spiritually wise. And then bombs are going to get dropped on this bitch. And then Esau and Shesau are going to be thrown head first into fucking slavery. And you niggas are going to be getting beat into pieces. Brutally beat. But this is the beginning of y'all niggas' punishment with the downfall of y'all kingdom. Because mind you, once again, everybody knows that in America, the so-called white man has the advantage. Now, you can say maybe not now, because the curses are now being put on our enemies. Gonna have to end this quickly. The curses being put on our enemies. So you can say maybe not now, but this is a country that was built for Edomites. And not only this, but really going back to because if you want to get technical, Esau never really had like a full out judgment for his for the shit that he's done throughout all time. So like what? You got to pay for what you did from the garden up until now. It's going to hit you all at once. And once again, starting with the brutal downfall of your kingdom, because what? Esau being the spoiled piece of shit that he is, they can't handle trouble. Here it is, Jake been going through, being poor and poverty and barely fucking making it, having to scrape and scramble for shit throughout our entire time here. And still you got Jake that's still doing well. But here it is, you have Edomites within the last 10 years. You got these niggas fucking crying on the internet. 10 years. 10 fucking years of a little bit of financial hardship. These niggas are fucking crying on the internet. They can't that shows you an example of how fucking brutal this shit is for an Edomite. To watch your privilege and your kingdom go down the fucking drain, there's nothing you can do about it. To be in a position of privilege and in power, but to have that suddenly ripped away from you, that's a shock. Because like what? Normally you think that, hey, you get some time to adjust. Because you need time to adjust to some shit like that. But no, a big part of that punishment is how this shit brutally ripped the fuck away from him. So now he has to deal with this shock, and he has to figure out a way to adjust. It's too much coming at him at one time. That's why you have a lot of Edomites crashing out. A lot of Edomites are fucking upset. Because it's too much for their brains to handle. It's way too much coming at you within too short of a fucking time span. So it's a whole mental thing to it too. But also even after that, when you niggas are going to be getting your ass handed to you for 1,000, and it's just going to be straight ass kicking. Like I don't really have the vernacular, if that's the correct terminology to use, to explain it. No, you just know that you're gonna get your ass. And like what scriptures say, render unto her double. So with that 110 for that violence against that brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, thou shalt be cut off forever. And there's going to come a point where Esau is exterminated from the earth, because the so-called white man's only purpose was to spread wickedness, was to punish our people. He doesn't contribute anything that's conducive to life to this world. And the so-called things that he seemingly does has a fucking negative kickback on it. For example, vape pens, right? Vape pens, you're inhaling battery acid and some other metallic type of fucking chemicals. But it was pushed as some type of great thing, some type of healthy thing, a healthy alternative to I think there was cigarettes and there's something else and there's vape pens. All the thing like pollution, right? For 1,000 years on the earth, there's been no problems with pollution. Here it is, you have Esau that's at the helm for a few hundred years, and he damn near destroyed every fucking thing. Everybody's bones fucked up. From everything is completely out of fucking whack from this nigga. This whole positive lifestyle that he pushes. The food pyramid was a fucking lie. The whole positive lifestyle that he pushed. Everybody being able to have freedom to do what they want. Look at what that shit's turned into. Liberation, female liberation. Look at what that shit's turned into. It's a good thing for everybody to live how they want, to live their truth. Well, when you have a bunch of truths clashing together into each other, there's going to be some fucking conflict. Everybody coming together and living together as one people, there's going to be some conflict. In every aspect of life that the so-called white man push as good, that he sees as good, it's death on the end of it. It may be good and sweet in the beginning, but it's death on the fucking end of it. And he does this purposefully to go against the laws of the Lord. And that's a few reasons why, Esau, you're getting your punishment. Because you're not, whether your descendants, your ancestors, none of you niggas are innocent. That's how the game goes, my nigga. Tables fucking turn, good buddy. In the day thou stoodest on the other side, in the day the strangers carried away captive his forces and foreigners entered to his gates and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou was one of them. And what is going to specifically Babylonian captivity, where Nebuchadnezzar came in and kicked our ass and took over Jerusalem. And they were working with Ammon, they were working with Moab, and they were working with Esau. I think there was another nation as well, but they were working with Esau as well. And going down here, verse 13, for thou shouldest not have entered to the gate of my people in the day of their calamity, yea, thou shouldest not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. Neither shouldest thou have stood on the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape, neither shouldest thou have delivered up those that did remain in the day of distress. And you can look this up, and you have to do a bit of digging, because if you just, if you don't find it, in the first Google search, you have to do a little bit of research to find it, because they'll name other nations, but they won't name Esau. And that's another thing. They hide the fucking truth. Some articles won't name Esau. Other articles will. They'll try to hide it. But Esau's been a thorn in our ass from the start. From the garden till now, Esau been a constant thorn in our ass. And another instance of this is Haman, when Haman tried to have our people fucking destroyed during the Medo-Persian captivity. I think it was under Xerxes. I think the king's name is Ahasuerus, but I know Ahasuerus is another name for Xerxes. We're going to Esther, the book of Esther, Mordecai. Yeah, he tried to have us fucking destroyed. And Haman was a Amalekite, a hook-nosed nigga, an Edomite, the chief of Edomite nations. But once, and I'm gonna have to end this quickly because got camp and all that. But yeah, once again, all the things that you've done, you say, well, what do we do? Look into your fucking history. You got that faggot Matt Walsh. Look at the shit he's saying. How there was already a land of people that were thriving here. But what did you have Esau did? You had this nigga kill off all buffalo simply to starve out our people. Exterminate all the type. There's shit that he did that is fucking lost to time, that he's destroyed the records of. Why? Because how fucked up it is. Even Cristobal Colon's own niggas said that the shit that they did there was crimes against humanity. You have whistleblowers that are blowing the whistle on certain shit that's going on in the government, because even his own people realize how fucked up this shit is, what they're doing. If the wicked is blowing the whistle on the wicked, then something's clearly not fucking right. And all of you people as a nation of Edom, you niggas are going to fucking pay. Just like we paid as a nation, you niggas are going to pay as a nation. Is it fair? Oh fucking well, nigga. What's that popular saying? Life isn't fucking fair. You niggas going to have to deal with that shit. But enjoy the last moments of your fucking kingdom. Because y'all thought we was joking. And this shit is only getting worse. Y'all thought we were joking. All right. Let's see let's see if this is a joke up until the very fucking end. But hope it's that fine. So y'all praise the glory and how about Shema Shabbat Shema Dash the Bonds and other positive grand mess up for all true. Shawanta hopefully like is instruction, but I'm a great America.